I've got to hold my jaw. She already hurts smiling. I've not even started yet. I don't even know where to start. This feels like a really pivotal moment and I just want to do it justice. Not that I'm gonna do it wrong, but I don't want to miss bits out. I don't want to take away from any part of this journey. I can't believe we're here. I think I first have to say thank you for all the support in switching up my channel to be more aligned to business, to entrepreneurship, to my evolving sense of self. I feel so content right now, and I think it's because I put my passion somewhere else. I have got more of a purpose and I see something that's so much bigger than myself. I see something that's creating community, and this is ultimately like my future direction. I think also because I'm finishing up my final year of uni, I'm thinking, what's the next step? And I feel like I'm there. I'm creating that next step. I'm not at the next step, but I can see where we're gonna go, and it's really exciting. So this is a video introducing my first products for the Seasons project. It's a business I've been working on more than 6 months anyways, but going back even further than that, in 2023, actually April 2023, so exactly 3 years ago, I set up 888, and that was a wellness brand that brought others into my life. It allowed me to share my journey and I guess who I was as a person. The shift that I took with the Seasons project was to bring it away from myself and into not even something tangible, but something special, something different, and yeah, to take my face away from the brand and to allow it to resonate, I think, with other people. The Seasons project represents something for us all. We're all navigating our seasons, and we'll come on to that idea, I guess, where the brand came from, where the name came from, our vision, mission, direction, whilst also showing those first products. I came across the idea of Seasons, I think, at the right point in my life. I, at the time, was deeply struggling with my health, and this idea allowed me to understand that this was just a period of my life and I was gonna work through it. It wasn't gonna be forever. That made that season, that period, a lot less intimidating, overwhelming, and allowed me to process it, I think, knowing that I was gonna get through it and there was light at the end of the tunnel. And I think for others, whether you're navigating health issues, whether you're starting university, starting a new job, entering motherhood, I think all those periods of our lives can be transitional, pivotal, and they can be difficult, so difficult, as much as they can be so rewarding. And I think noticing that and understanding that just framed Seasons so beautifully for me, and it just resonated so much with me. So I looked to create the Seasons project as I felt like it was something for a community, for us all. And I actually created this with the idea in mind to go straight into projects, straight into a tangible business. But actually, through going through mentorship, I was enlightened to the fact that the Seasons project does actually sound like not a charity, but something bigger. And I like that. I like that it's almost like this online wellness studio. That's what I'm trying to, I think, develop. It's not just the tangible products that I'm going to show today, but it's wellness that's simple. Our mission is to support intentional seasonal wellness. To each individual, it can mean something different. It can be engaged with constantly. We're going to have our wellest periods, and we're going to have our periods that are our toughest, and being able to understand ourselves, understand our mind, body and spirit, it allows us to come back to wellness constantly and come back to ourselves and I guess fuel our wellness long term. So I think in saying all of this, the inspiration, the mission, the vision was to create something tangible. I wanted to educate on this idea of seasons, seasonal living, seasonal wellness, because it was so transformational for me, and I come back to it constantly, understanding what season I'm in to make my next steps, make my decisions. So I wanted something that represented this cycle, and yes, I guess the cycle of the year, but also what the seasons of the year represent and what those seasons can be related to in aspects of our life. You know, in my health issues, it almost felt like a bit of a winter season where I needed to restore, where I needed to rest and recover. But there are periods in our life where, you know, you may be organizing a wedding and that may be your opening period. It may be inviting other people in and hosting something that is so celebratory, yet that feels like a spring season. So I wanted to bring the two together and to offer a cycle of 4 seasons that I guess are tailored to the seasons of the year. And because of that, I put together a set of cards. It's a set of 12 cards that follow that cycle, and there are 3 on each of our different cycles that sort of go through spring, summer, autumn and winter, with the words and ideas that inspire, emerge, release and restore.
So let's get her out.
It's just so crazy when your idea comes to life, when what was in my brain becomes something I can hold in my hand, literally. These are our affirmation cards. And now there's 14 cards in here, a couple to almost explain this idea of seasons. As I say, I wanted to educate. I wanted people to resonate and understand the seasons, because as I say, that was so transformational for me. And then there are 3 cards on each of those seasons that we talk about: inspiring, emerging, releasing and restoring. Our box firstly introduces you to those ideas. On the front we have those 4 themes, cycles, seasons, and on the back we have the idea that we move through seasons, not just around us, but within us. You pull a card when you feel called to, or you choose one that resonates in the moment. That's exactly what it is. It's that short sentence, or those couple of sentences, that shows how easy it is to focus on our wellness. Pull a card when you feel it resonates with you. Pull a card when you feel called to. I wanted to make something small, compact, easy to take places, travel with. It's portable, it's simple. Then of course we have our cards. Start with the seasons project on the front, and then as we go into the cycles and into each of our seasons, it shows on the front and then inspires on the back. As I say, Inspire is our first cycle, and it does almost relate to the kind of spring season. And if I just look at this first card, this one shares, notice what's attracting your attention. That's in bold. Then you've got, there's usually something beneath what draws you in. Follow it and see where it leads. So the idea of spring is about opening yourself up, about noticing, yes, what's attracting your attention, what's drawing you in, what's calling to you. Following that is your spring season. And as we go through then the cycles and the seasons of the year, you know, we settle into summer, but then we retract in autumn and we restore, we recoup, we rest, we recover in winter. That's the idea of these cards, and each one focuses on a different call to action. It is something that you can be doing, you can interpret though in your own way. And as I say, there's 3 on each. And it's something I wanted to ask actually, whether you wanted me to build something bigger. A lot of affirmation decks have 52 cards in them to be used each week. I didn't want to make it that restrictive that, you know, you're only pulling one each week. I wanted it to feel more easy, and as I say, simple, so that, you know, you're picking up a card when it suits you, when it works with you, when you feel called to, all those ideas that we've spoken about already. So that kind of wraps up what's in our deck. I'm so happy with this first pack that we've got. I'm so happy that I did choose the 12 cards. You know, if 52 looks at the weeks of the year, 12 looks at the months of the year. So it does sort of relate on that front. Of course, the box says 14 to give you a little bit of education, a little bit of background on the seasons, but I want to work with you as well. I want to understand what you want to see, whether you'd want those educational bits to almost be scrapped and get more value in the cards, to get more cards, to get less cards. As I say, the Seasons project is about a community, so I want to create something that works for all of us. It's not just something for myself. I want the Seasons and the Seasons project to really mean something to us all. Of course, our cards are something portable, something to take with you, wellness wherever you find yourself. I wanted to do something then that was almost the opposite, something stationary and as you pass it rather than as you take it. So I've created a set of prints, again 12. 12's my lucky number, if you couldn't tell, but also it works with the cycles of the year, the months of the year, and these prints offer something of variety. I wanted to do the same to bring the idea of simple wellness at home. And of course, these prints are to display in your home, but the prints themselves relate to wellness in your own space. It brings about the idea of brunches and coffee clubs, introverted homebody clubs. I do love that design that relates to Sunday wellness or, yeah, coffee clubs, and I guess the bold lettering. This whole set of prints was actually inspired by a t-shirt that I bought literally from Sainsbury's, and literally £4, but it said Sunday wellness. I think it was weekend studio retreat. So I played on that, and our first prints that we created was in relation to a wellness club. Sunday wellness, weekend wellness, retreats, studios. This is everything I want my future to look like. So if I show you those ones first, these were actually ones that were helped by you, designed by you, because I had so many creations of this idea and I just didn't know what route to go down. So I got you guys to vote on Instagram of your favorites, and we refined it from 4 to 2, but even before the 4, I think I must have had 10 or 12. So I thank you so much for your help on that. And if you do want to get involved in these designs and I guess our next launches, then follow me on Instagram. It's at Shop the Seasons Project on Instagram. You can find me there. I put quite a few bits on my story that are interactive that you can get involved in. It's about wellness, it's about our community, and yeah, it also allows you to help me in some of these business processes. So, our first prints. We have the Wellness Studio Weekend Retreat, aligned to what these prints were inspired by. This is more aligned to the t-shirt that I do have, that I'm sure you'll see me wearing for many Sundays. I should have put it on, that would have been just perfect. And I'm actually sweating here, it's so warm today, so it probably would have been a good one to put on. But anyways, our second one that you guys also helped me pick was the Sunday Wellness Studio Retreat. I'm so obsessed with these, I'm so obsessed with these. And I have printed these in different formats. I've got A4 here and I also have A5. I'd love to know if you'd like an A3 or an A2 version to really make this bold and, you know, put it in somewhere in your space. You know, there's kitchen prints in here because there's brunch clubs, there's brunch ideas. I loved the blueberries, the croissants, the jams, the butters, those kind of home comforts really meant something to me and are what, as I say, inspired this whole collection of prints. I'd love to do this in a kind of, again, seasonal cycle, and moving into summer, I'd love to do, yeah, something different, maybe inspired more by our European countries. I love the whole Greece vibe, you know, the Santorini buildings. This is very drawn at the minute. The font is exactly the Seasons project, but it is also, yeah, handcrafted. It just makes it feel more simple and more ours because it's handwritten, I don't know, but the imagery then also is drawn. So I'd love to know if you'd like something more structured. The colors at the minute are a almost muted blue background, kind of like a beige blue, if that even makes sense, and then our font is a dark navy blue. I guess it's between a royal and a navy blue. I would love to show you all the prints, but I also don't want to ruin them ahead of launch if this hasn't gone live just yet. You can find all this stuff though on my website when it does launch. It is www.theseasonsproject.com. It's an easy one to remember, I hope, and you can also find anything on my Instagram as well. I'm actually going to wrap up this one here after thanking you again for your support. I am obsessed with these bits that I've created, and I'm just so overwhelmed, I think, by the whole experience. The fact that I've made something that was in my brain as something that I can hold in my hands now. I feel like I've been speaking for so long, so as I say, I am going to wrap this one up, and my camera's also dying, so hopefully I get this one before I finish up. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below to see more of these processes, to get involved in these processes. Share any of your thoughts below. I would love your kind of comments on colors, favorites, your opinions on these first couple of products that we've created. Thank you again, and I will see you in my next video.